3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 55.
55. We should do this all the entire podcast. 55.
I used to be race number 55 before I'm 69 now. I originally was 55.
When you were a virgin.
With the SS in my name, Chrissy, so the 55 used to work as like a bit of a logo.
Either that, you were like a super Nazi, the SS. There we are. Bit of history there, kids. Bit of history.
That's it. But straight away, we've got a new sponsor, and it is actually a genuine sponsor this time. It's
that makes sense.
Week.
I love how we've just insulted all our previous sponsors throughout every episode. They're like, we've actually got a genuine one this time, but thank you to all our
as
previous.
Opposed to last week, guy. One of our patrons, Martin Cheney, got in touch and formed in 2015 by CIPP practitioner Martin Cheney. Cheney Payroll Services plan and implement new payroll systems, improve existing systems and processes, and even manage their entire payroll process for those looking to outsource. We have worked on a variety of payrolls, each of different size, payment frequency and complexity, so we are well equipped to support you and your organisation. During our 32 years working in the industry, we've gained the knowledge to work with businesses of any size, providing both consultancy and bureau services. And to get in touch, they've got a website, www.cheneypayrollservices.co.uk. That's CHENEY. And then payrollservices.co.uk. The Twitter is @CheneyPayroll. And if you want to get in touch, number is 0113 360 9398. So massive thanks to Martin for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate it. And if there's anybody out there that requires that sort of service, please check out the website.
Good man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Podcast, we've got an interview coming with one of your pals, Rob Hodson.
Yes. Very talented, very suave. You wouldn't want to slap off him either. He's a smiling assassin.
Like I said, that was the first time I've seen him what he looks like without his helmet, and he looks more like a rugby player than a bike racer.
Oh, definitely. But no, he's definitely. We've been brought up very similar in the fact of, like, you know, we're following our father's footsteps, and, you know, Rob and the whole Hodgson family they've gone through a lot, and the dedication to themselves, firstly, their family, and what this sport actually means to them is beyond amazing. And I think you'll really enjoy this. And but to be honest, Chrissy, I felt almost like it was just totally one-sided, because obviously you've never met Rob, and it was like, but no, I think you did very well, son, because it was like, when you just need to throw a question in. Normally it's totally the opposite. Chrissy's like, right, well, this guy in 1994, he was running 1543 gear sprocket, you know what I mean? And the wind was coming in from the west, right? Hell of a year. And I'm like, right, Chrissy, let's just find out what his favourite colour is. And this time I took the reins. So if the quality of the podcast interview is shite, it's my fault. Not Rob, not Chrissy, it's me. But hey, what's new there?
So before we get on with the interview, have you been up to much this week?
No, I tell you what, it's finally happened. It's the product has arrived. I'm not trying to sound like a drug dealer here. The Bomb Squad. The Bomb Squad. Sorry, I keep getting mixed up here. The 130 Club. That obviously we've rang the bell a few times on this, and obviously plugged it a fair few times. But obviously it's people supporting me to go racing for the now 2021 season. And all the hoodies, the t-shirts, the badges, the stickers, the posters, everything's arrived, and I've been starting to deliver them today, and I'm absolutely over the moon, because at the moment it's like a Jehovah's paradise. Everyone's in. You can knock on any door and someone's going to answer.
Jehovah's paradise. That's what this podcast is going to be called.
That's very you can like Paul Robson for that one. There
great.
we go. But no, I've been going around the local area now, because I've got there's people in the club that are from America, USA. We've got a couple from Switzerland. It's just mental how far it's actually reached out. But all the products there, I'm really looking forward for everyone to get their stuff. And obviously now that we're really not going to I'm not gonna tear it down, Chrissy. I'm not gonna say the C word. That's our new C word. We're not saying the C word today at all. I do mention it in the podcast, but anyway, the podcast, man, the interview. But no, thank you so much to them lot, absolutely so much. But bar that, I got out in the little Grom with a bunch of my mates, and yeah, I just couldn't stop laughing. Right, 60 mile an hour, just play fighting with each other on little bikes. I can only just do 60 mile an hour, and I mean, just smiled all day. Must have covered nearly 300 mile. I'm not exaggerating. It was absolutely brilliant. It was just so nice to be on a sunny day and just go literally all over the place.
Where did you get up to?
God, Bennett.
We're kind of blessed around here with good roads, haven't we?
Aye, that's it. But you know, you see, that's a good. The bike in itself, right? Absolutely awesome bike. Is brilliant when you're in a group of people, but when you're by yourself, it is actually fundamentally crap. It doesn't want to go around corners, but when you've got a group of people on the same class, it's just such a laugh.
For anyone that doesn't know what a Grom is, just so obviously I've seen it because I've seen pictures, but just explain what.
Well, the best way, it's a Honda MSX 125. So it's a Honda, but they're fuel injected. It's not carbed. It is awesome. You can just ring its neck all day.
They're like a monkey bike, though, aren't they? They're like really small.
Yeah, funny enough, Honda have actually redone the monkey bike. Not the original like 80 bikes, but it is a more...
They're a small bike.
It's a small bike, but they're ideal for camping. They're actually kind of... you know, like Volkswagens.
Yeah.
You know how they have like a cult following with the transporter kind of things. It's the same with Honda Groms. If you can get your hands on one, they hold their money ridiculous. Like you can get one with like 1,000 miles. Someone bought one a couple of years ago when I barely go out on it, and you get ones with 20,000 miles on. They're serious. Like they hold the value. Like they're just brilliant. I don't even know what the terminology is for that. But anyway, they hold their value. They fit in the back of my caddy. I've got a short wheelbase caddy for work. I can just chuck that in. So when I'm working down country, like going back and forth to site, I leave my van on site and I go back to the hotel and forward on the little Honda Grom. It's ideal.
I've actually got a funny story for the podcast listeners. I know we were talking about this last week, but when I went to do my CBT, the lads down at Gateshead, big sort of meathead, muscly tattoo lads, and they were on like big 1,000cc bikes. And when I got there, I had the big chasing the racing thing, and I got talking about you straight away. I mentioned Dom Herbert.
Do you know him? He's a dick.
And these two lads like looked at each other and laughed, and they said, "Do you know Dom Herbert, do you?" And I said, "Wait, yeah, like quite well actually. Do a podcast with him and stuff." And I asked how they knew you, and they'd been up to where we live. There's a road from sort of the east side, like Newcastle area, over to the Lake District, and it goes right up a massive hill
through the Pennines,
and then back down to the Lake District. But it's probably one of the best roads in the country for motorbikes. It's
definitely
mint. The Hartside Pass, and they'd been up at Hartside Cafe before it got burnt down at the top there, and some cheeky little chappie came up to him on this little monkey bike and said, "I bet you 20 quid I beat you to the bottom of the hill."
I didn't.
It was a good like. Was it like 40 mile?
They're making up the shite that. Now me and my mate, right? He's called
he
Blue
said
Steel.
you bet him to the bottom.
No, I bloody didn't. He's lying because he's bloody lying. So anyway, me and my mate, right now, Kevin Barsby, Mags Grand Prix regular, you know, proper like fundamental like family man. And he goes there to enjoy his racing, and he does try his best, and he well turned out bikes. But anyway, I diverse. Very fast lad. Very, very fast lad. So anyway, me and him hop on this. Now, I had a Honda Grom, so essentially I turned up in a Bentley, right? He turned up on this WK Tomcat that cost him 100 quid. It looked like the little Terminator bike. It was a pile of shite, mate. Absolute cheap Chinese shite. So anyway, we'll go all the way up, but the bikes were exactly the same in like power. But when he reached when he cranked it over, the exhaust pipes were catching off the floor, which were lifted up his wheels, so he couldn't go fast through the corners, but the straight line was mint. So anyway, me and him turned up at the top of this at the calf there, and these two lads standing up there with these Ducatis, just, you know, smoking a tab. And we turned up, we're Honda Little Groms, we look like a couple of, you know, premature teenagers sitting there. That like we've got the race levers on, but we've got like body water because it was February, you know, like last February when we had that one couple of days when it was hotter than Egypt. So anyway, we're at the top of this hill. We've got body warmers. All right, lads, and you know these two lads going, "Oh, aye, we do loads of track days, We're actually instructors. You know, we teach people. You know, we teach people how to ride, and we make a big influence." And me and Bob's began, "All right, aye." Right, Trevor goes, "Oh, aye, yeah, we've just booked up for our mirror, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that." And he goes, "Oh, I know," I said, "All right, well, we'll catch you at the bottom." And he goes, "Wait, whatever." So anyway,
He told me you bet him to
No,
the
I did. I know I didn't. I'm telling you, I didn't. So anyway, well, we'll get Barsby on the show, and he'll tell you the exact same tale. So
these lads said they were flying down were they on like 1,000 cc's or something, like big sports bikes, flying down, going as quick as they could, and then halfway down the hill, who comes around the outside of them, scraping the pegs on his little Grom. And he said, "You absolutely caned them all the way to the bottom," and they'd never seen anything like it. And they were going, "That lunatic Dom Herbertson," and that. I was like, "That's the one."
That's the one. Honestly, scraping knees, but I came like basically we've got like it's essentially like a Lindsay hairpin. It's double tight on itself, so I just sat when I saw the pair of them. Just went in, full back brake, locked up the rear, dropped it to the knee, and they were just like, "What the fuck?" Oh, it was bad laughing. But hey ho, you know what I mean? There's always that bell end on the road that ruins it for every other person in the biker community, Chrissy, and that was my day, so I do apologise. But bar me,
I tell you what, it's been a good week for weather this week. Proper being, the sun's really came out. Like you mentioned on the last podcast, though, it's one of those where you're kind of thinking, "Oh, I wish we had this weather when we could race and be out on our bikes." But
I've lost track. Were you supposed to be out racing at this point?
Oh,
or
wait,
not?
the season started ages ago.
I know that you don't. I meant like, is it a week? I've totally lost track of the calendar.
I don't know about the calendar, but this week I've started back my running and my cycling. So I ran down to see you the other day I did 9 mile that night, and I did another 8 miler the other night. So just not breaking any records, but just getting back into it. And
just don't tell everyone where you found us.
What's it called? Where you it's a salmon where you jump into it. What's it called, man?
No, we're not, Chrissy. We're not.
Just tell us what's it called? Where you put your arms down your side and it was
something salmon.
Silly salmon. There's another silly salmon where
something like that.
So I found Dom upside down.
Now, hold on. I had no idea you were. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, right. It was just totally caught with me pants down here. Because are you actually going to dump me in it? Anyway, buy a mug and I'll tell you.
So I got a bit of training done this week. I also got out on me push bike. I've seen loads of lads recently. They're on that game where they can cycle indoors, but they cycle all together and that.
Yeah, loads of these BSB riders are doing.
Do you know what I now and again I like a cycle. I like getting out. Obviously, it's good. It's a good way to do hours of exercise without it being bad on your joints and stuff. But
is this cycling in general?
Yeah,
all right.
But for me, there's just I would just find that so boring. Sat indoors cycling. It's I see my teammate Tom Ward did
He's an animal.
He climbed Everest. I think it took him about 10 hours 40. I think he did, which is unbelievable. But like him, Brad Ray, loads of them do. But they're all training indoors. But for me, running on a treadmill and cycling on a spin machine, it's just not the same as being outside and you're concentrating the different terrain, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, it's just not the same.
If you had to pick one, running or cycling, what would
I'm much more of a runner.
Really? You see, that's the thing. It's the shock load, isn't it? Does not nag your leg like me.
It's not
I'm considerably flumpier than you, man.
Anything over sort of 5 kilograms isn't really that good on your joints, but I enjoy my run. It's a good way of burning calories, and to be honest, I like the it's sort of escape in the real world. I put my podcast in or my music, or I've been listening to. Do you know what Audible is?
Yeah.
It's like through Amazon, but basically you can just listen to your books. So instead of reading books, you can listen to them. So I've been listening to a really good book.
I listened to the Kama Sutra once. It was mind blowing. Really was. Yeah.
Say that again.
Nothing. Carry on.
I didn't get that. It was straight over my head. Anyways,
I feel sorry for your last now. Carry on.
So back sort of cycling, running, all that type of stuff. So happy enough with that. And
how's the shoulder doing with that then? Because if you're jumping up and down and like running and that, so how's she coping?
So every day I do I've got like a circuit to do indoors, so I do that. After a decent run, I probably have to have a day off before doing anything again, because it's just
you're working back on it, aren't you?
Yeah,
so there we go.
It's definitely coming on strong.
Definitely,
loads better. Now, before we get on with the interview, from the last podcast, we put a competition out for a nice Parker pen. So
lovely
my dad
pen.
bought a nice pen, and I ran the competition on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So just put it into a generator, and we're gonna look on the Twitter. And if I go, on the Twitter at the moment, it's got 134 retweets. So just scroll through and eyes closed, stop. And it's Dan Hone. So at Dan_Hone. And he tweeted #CTR win, bit posh that lad. So congratulations. And railway worker and professional tea drinker. I like it.
There we go. We go.
You'll have it, as well as being a tea drinker, professional tea drinker and a railway worker. You'll be a professional writer as well.
You can stab your costs with it, mate. There's a bit of railway crack for you, Chrissy, that you might go over the top. You can either stab the site warden or his costs with it.
Now, I tell you what, just before we do get on with the interview, bit of good news on the racing front. Track days are going ahead very soon. Looking through they've had to make a few adjustments, obviously, to maintain social distancing and stuff. We're going to have a system where you do all the booking and everything online. If you need to fill anything out, you bring your own pen, obviously 2 meters apart. All the stuff that sort of makes sense. You can, only 3 people in a garage, like keeping your distance, all that type of stuff. So it's I think it's, as long as everyone respects the rules, I think obviously everyone will be looking forward to getting back out.
It's got to start at some point,
and that's it. And the promising thing is, starting track days, say No Limit start track days, there's then no reason why they can't race. And if they, what's the difference between a track day and a race meeting? And then once that racing starts, there's no reason why the more professional racing can't start as well. So
it's legal loophole. Well, obviously, I'm not a solicitor. I know that'll come to a bit of a shock, but I'm not a solicitor. But I think it's more the spectator side of it, because not many people go and watch a track day. But saying that, because racing's not on, they'll probably try and get more people to go watch. But they can shut that down theoretically, couldn't they?
You could say
at a circuit.
Brands Hatch GP, you could get 40,000 people there all watching socially distancing.
They don't
no
charge
problem
to watch on track days, do they? Am I making that up?
No,
I might be totally wrong. So if you go to No Limits track day,
yeah,
on a Wednesday, Alton Park, you can just literally walk through the gate. Is that correct? And just watch?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. There you are. Now that must be some sort of legal side of it.
That was another thing. You've got to bring, I think, only one extra person
per rider?
Per rider, or if you're under 16, you can have 2 parents or something like that. Right. There's lots of rules, but like I say,
one big happy family in racing, Chrissy.
I think one of the biggest worries why everything was getting cancelled is obviously they couldn't afford to. Let's say the NHS was really under strain, and then loads of motorbike racers were getting ferried in ICU. It would almost be like, oh, you really can't do this at a time of this crisis. But as it actually happens, I think we've been quite conservative in terms of the approach with closing down the hospitals, stopping all the other all the surgeries and everything, and everything's planned around this like emergency corona crisis. And there hasn't actually been nowhere near as many cases as what would sort of plan for. Do you know the Nightingale hospitals they built? So do you know where we went to the show down in London?
They turned it into a big hospital.
Yeah, that only treated. I think I might be wrong on this, but I think that's only treated 30 people. And they've put loads of Nightingale special hospitals, like quick shift hospitals, and they're not at full capacity. I was speaking to a nurse from our local hospital. She was saying it's dead, pretty much. The hospital's really, really quiet.
Which is good news. Which is really good
very
news,
good news for the. So in terms of over the next few months, reintroducing sport and stuff, I don't think that should be too much of a problem.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's going to start at some point. There's going to be people that are going to be upset with it. There's people going to be not. So there we go. There we go. But let's go back into the racing crack. And I'm really looking forward to it. We've already done the interview, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I hope you do too.
How long have you known Rob?
not that long. He's just been in the paddock. He's just one of them infectious characters. I'm not saying he's got the clap or anything, but he's just makes you smile, when you just see him, and you just want to be around him, have a pint with him, and just a bit of crack. And like I say, and I said that at the beginning of the pod, he's from a solid family, and especially in this sport, and he's great to have it around the paddock, and long may that continue, my man. So do you want to introduce him quickly?
Yeah, so over to Rob Hodson.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are tonight being honoured by His Grace, the ex-privateer. You'll probably hate me for saying this, the ex-privateer, Rob Hodson. I can say, now, not many people know we actually record these conversations by video link, so I can see Rob twisted already. Rob is the recently signed Divot Dapperbet RC Express team. How we doing, Rob?
Not too bad, thanks. How are you boys? We all right?
Not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. Now it's the first time I've seen you not with your leathers and your helmet on, and straight away,
seated, Chrissy. This conversation's already got a bit
straight away. I'm thinking you look more like a rugby player than a motorbike player.
Right.
Motorbike rider. Sorry.
Yeah, we do a bit of that. Yeah, but no, I did actually play rugby as a youth. So yeah, maybe I might take it back up. I might get on better.
Have a word with yourself.
You look like a front row. You just need the cauliflower ears, and you'll be in the eye, and you'll be a prop.
Let me just stand up. I'm not that big.
Okay, but I love this. We're Chase the Race for a podcast. We're all about the audible. Now we're just essentially having a fashion photo shoot with Rob Hodson in his living room. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, absolutely. There we go. So how's the world of lockdown treating you then? Are you sick like the rest of us?
Yeah, it's just you have the same conversation about a million times, don't you, about it? But I mean, it is actually the same for everybody.
Yeah.
But not a lot has changed for me because I'm still working like 5 days, which I'm quite lucky, to be honest.
What do you do?
I work. You'll know Sean, who comes with us racing.
Big Sean, Smiley Sean.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry. Yeah. So obviously the listeners here, Rob's international racer. He does the Northwest, the TT, the Ulster Grand Prix, and the Macau Grand Prix. Now the man he's referring to here, I think, was one of your. Explain who he is. Now there's a big tall lad that knocks around with you, and he's always smiling. You wouldn't want to slap off him, but he's always.
That'll be Big Al. That.
Oh Jesus.
He's called Al Bundy. You can't miss him, can you?
Because, you can't,
No, he's got a big head, like a tin of paint. A self-confessed head like a tin of paint as well. So, yeah. But no, Sean, who comes with us, he's been a sponsor of mine for a few years since I started doing the Manx. Actually, in about 2012, he just gives a few quid here and there and what have you. And then as time progressed, he's played a big part the last few years. So yeah, he comes to the races what he can. He owns most of the BM that I've been riding. So yeah, he enjoys coming along and having the crack with us. So.
And let's be honest, yeah. You don't get any more crack than you do with the Hodgsons. You're fast and furious. Now you come from a good thoroughbred bloodline of road races. Let's talk about your dad a bit. Let's go into his.
Well, yeah, I know you're a bit of a fan of him, aren't you? So
I'm scared of your dad. That's the truth of it. I'm scared of your dad. He's a laughing assassin.
Scared or you do a bit of fangirling around him.
How can you not? It's how can you not? It's Jim Hodson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got if he takes a swing at someone, they're gonna fall over from wind draft. That's how big his hands are. They're serious.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, he's like you say, a good family pedigree of it, and it's all come from him. He's been racing. He must be getting on for 40 years now, and probably doing the TT for 35 of them. So.
Bloody all right.
Yeah, he's had various successes, crashes, breakdowns, and good success. Like we're just about to.
Hold on. I'm not sure what success means in Wigan, but that didn't sound very successful. There we go. Let's try that again.
Well, yeah, depending on how much bad luck you have, which we have a fair bit. Yeah, you got to. Yeah, but no, he's been on the TT podium in 2002. He was second on the 400. which was quite good. So
second, who behind, and who
was Milky Quail won that race. He was second, and Richard Britton was third. So yeah,
bloody hell, that's a hell of a lineup, that mind.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good year. That he's. If I remember right, I mean, I was probably about 13, something like that back then. But yeah, he was confident through practice and what have you. And Tony Scott had done the engine on that bike, so yeah, things just worked out well all through practice. And then come the race, he did the job on that.
So your brother. Oh, sorry, carry on, son.
Yeah, no, the year after, thought there might have been a chance of going one step better, but yeah, it wasn't to be. The engine expired in practice, and yeah, that was put under a cover. So you know how it is though over there. So it goes, isn't it?
I tell you what, like if Chrissy road racing, as you know, and even in British, you need the look, but around there you desperately need the look. So how did you get into it? Now I know your brother race. You and your brother Jamie there. You obviously followed your father's footsteps, and it's a case of how did you take your first steps into motorcycle racing? You personally, or was it Big Daddy Jim just went pit? There you are.
No, not quite. I don't know. I wanted to do it, but you've got to. It's like a big sort of commitment, I suppose, isn't it? It was only when I'd left school. Jamie was racing the year before me in 2004. So come 2005, I'd left school, got a job, and yeah, bought an Aprilia 125. So that was sort of the my first footsteps into it. So it was good. It was a good time, that, to be honest. It was probably one of the most enjoyable because the bikes didn't cost a lot. Not much running costs and stuff like that. So yeah, I loved every minute of that.
And did you start doing a bit of club racing, like local racing around where you're from?
Around Wigan, we've got a couple of tracks, like with Aintree, which is really local. So we did quite a bit there, Darley-Moor, Elvington and Croft and stuff like that, which are not too local to us, but just as much as we can. So we just got in fact, my first race was at Croft up your end. So it was good, just enjoyable, cheap fun, you know what I mean? And then as things progress, you want more and more, don't you? So we sold that, and we're onto the Honda 125s, which weren't I don't know, they were all right, but I weren't sad to see the back of it.
I was sad to see the back of it.
What was the step to like your first road racing experience?
Road race. The first ever one I did actually was I don't know if you'll remember, they did what they called the class as a TT race back in 2009, but it was held on the Boulogne course. It was a bit mad. So that was when there was. Yeah, that was the. They tried to do like a bit of a two-stroke TT race, like 125 and 250 race, but not actually on the TT course. So it's a bit of a wacky thing, really. Yeah, if you look into that happened. So yeah, that was the first time I went on the roads was there, but that didn't go too successful. We had a breakdown and a crash. So yeah, I'm just carrying on these success stories. You know what I mean?
So people, for people at the 700, there's only two walls at the 700. There's the one on the left and the one on the right. So which unfortunate corner did you come off at then at your first?
The very last corner. Is it Castletown corner?
That corner. Oh, for God's sake.
That one. Yeah. Yeah. There was nothing like dramatic about it or anything, but before, because they've done quite a lot of resurfacing recently, haven't they? Around there, they're improving it all the time. So as you went into the last corner, it used to be really bumpy, and I went over like the week before watching the TT and stuff, and I was lucky enough. Chris Palmer took us for a good few laps around there, and saying, "Just brake early, let the brakes off, over the bumps and stuff like that." And I came steaming in with the brakes fully on and took the front. So, yeah, that was the end of my first TT, technical TTS experience.
Right. Yeah. So. Bloody hell. So at what point, so did you just go from that year? So what year would that have been? There's a test of knowledge for you.
That was 2009. I think they only did it the 1 year that.
All right.
And then the first proper bit of roads I didn't do another one then. We just carried on with the club racing and sold the 125 and things like that. and then we went to the Manx in 2012. So
that's quite a gap then.
Yeah, we just it's difficult, like you'll know yourselves. It's one of them with any sort of racing. It's expensive, so you just do what you can. So I sold the 125 and then ended up on a 400, which I thought it'll be a cheapish way of carrying on racing, but it didn't turn out that way because we was popping engines left, right, and centre. So not great. But then we decided to go the Manx. Yeah, me and Jamie, both newcomers, that year. So we've never looked back really from that.
Bloody hell. Did he ever? Now it's interesting how you went from doing the roads at Balaun. That's a like obviously no disrespect to any other road race out there, but that is a proper. It's an English Macau Grand Prix, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a proper.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. Like you say though, it is. I'm not even exaggerating. It is the best ran event ever. It is literally called the Friendly Races for a reason. It is phenomenal. But to have that gap between that, was it the little bit of a off? I know not just the money, but did you think I want to go back to shorts now? When you went back to short circuit racing, did you chase any British? Did you have any idea of going into British, or was it just the club racing scene?
I think from about 07 to 09, we just did the odd wild card, like I think it was Alton Park we did, just them ones at the British. So they're really enjoyable, aren't they? Competitive, they definitely push your riding on, but it's just the expense of doing it when you're trying to do it all on yourself, at that time. So it was never something that I've sort of been able to commit to, full season of British. And with just doing the one roads on the 09 at Balaun, just doing the one, I never really thought, right, roads it is. We just carried on with the circuits. So going the Manx was definitely the start of what we're doing now.
And so did you? So obviously you started at the Manx. What other road races did you add to the repertoire? Did you get over to the Northwest 200 or?
From the Manx in 2012, which weren't a great year, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I know
I'm waiting for a good story.
We'll get to the success, I'm hoping.
You're all about the foreplay, you Wigan lads, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. I mean? Yeah.
Build
you up a bit. But yeah, a short story. 2012 Manx. I rode. I don't know if you remember the bike. It's a Tigcraft 650 that Ivan Linton was riding at that time. Anyway, the guy who owned it, Carl Martin, he let me have it for the Manx. So about
was that eligible then for the Manx at that point? Because that was like a Tigcraft was like a custom frame with an R6 swinging arm in the back of it.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Proper big kit.
Yeah, but the Manx rules allow pretty much anything goes. It's just the TT that was never allowed there. He could only ride it at Oliver's Mountain and stuff like that. So 2 weeks before the 2012 Manx, Ivan went to the Ulster and crashed. I think he got knocked off or something and bent it into all shapes through no fault of his own. So it was a case of get the bike, try and fix it as best we could, ready to go over the Manx. So we did.
And hold on. What's the time frame on that for people that won't know?
That was about. I reckon by the time we picked the bike up, it was probably 7 days, something like that.
7 days to fully rebuild a bike. That is some going.
But unfortunately, we took it over there and it was a non-runner. So
engine-wise?
Yes, yeah. So we had a bit of an issue there. So we got over there, and we only arrived on I think it was a Thursday or Friday. The Saturday would have been the newcomers practice, so it was still a non-runner at this point. So anyway, long story short, I missed the newcomers lap. I went out on the Monday for that one, and didn't realise the brake master cylinder had a little grub screw in that had come undone. So headed down Braille, got to Quarterbridge and had no brakes. So that first ever lap of the TT course, and you've got no brakes going into Quarterbridge. So we got I sort of pulled to one side. Yeah, pulled it over.
Hold on. But 6th gear, flat chat. Right, there's no brakes here. What do you mean you pulled to one side? Look, right. You walk me through exactly what you were thinking, doing at that exact point. That must be bloody terrifying.
Yeah, you reach for the brakes and it just comes back to the bar. I had a touch of brakes, so aided with like coming down 3 gears and letting the clutch out. I managed to stop, pull over, and obviously you're in a group with, you'll know yourself, you're in a group of about, I don't know, 6 to 8 riders, maybe something like that, doing your newcomers laps. So they all passed me, and I inspected what it was. I thought, I can't go back. I've got to get this newcomer's lap done. So I set off again, and the same thing happened again at it was Union Mills. So I
I'm
thought,
impressed you got around Braddon Bridge. There you are.
Yeah, Braddon. I had the screw stayed where it was, just about. So yeah, no, that was a scary experience, but we got it sorted shortly after that, and yeah, it was onto the practice week, which weren't a great week of weather. You know, if I know it doesn't count, but I'd like to class my first year at the Manx as 2013 because there was that much going on in 12 and bad weather, and I bet I only did probably 6 or 7 laps in practice. You know, there weren't much going on at all. So, yeah.
Right. That year off, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
more importantly, if you did shite, how did your brother get on?
Oh, spot
that
on.
must have been
I bet. Yeah.
not a bother. Loads of breaks, living the dream.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he finished in the races, but yeah, never missed a beat, and yeah, that was the start of our Manx career from there. So, yeah, but it's all good crack.
So obviously, okay, now that you've touched base on it, let's talk about your Manx Grand Prix career. So How many years were you there? How many teams have you raced for? Give me some details, man. Don't be shy.
Right. I did 4 years at the Manx. And won the Manx in 15, but 14 I thought was going to be my year, to be honest. I was on my own R6, and junior race. We had a good practice week, going all right. It was always up there. Junior race set off. I set off at 9, caught and passed a few riders, and I was leading by the end of the second lap, 14-second lead. So I came into the pits. Now, just going back a touch, my dad had some more bad luck about 2 weeks at most before at Aintree. He ran in the back of a slower rider, and he'd broken his leg, pelvis, arm, all this kind of stuff. But
holy crap!
Yeah. So that put him out of action, but he was still made it to the Manx. But he was stood in the grandstand in a wheelchair. So he was going to be my fuel man. So we recruited another guy. I still don't know the guy's name, to be honest. But
you sound like you don't want to either.
Yeah, I came, like I said, I had a board at exiting. I'm terrible with names. What's the pub? Craig. Right.
What's the pub, Greg? Straight off the bat there.
Out of there, 14 seconds. So I thought, right, we're on it here. I didn't feel like I was trying at all. Got into the pits, everything going well. Drink, cap off, fuel in, and then the fuel stopped coming out. So there's a load of panic. No one knew what was going on. But the guy who was doing the fueling, he picked the wrong pump up. But in that moment of... Yeah, really funny. Yeah,
it is to me.
So obviously, there's a lot of panic going on, and you've only got really, what is it for a pit stop? About 40 seconds, something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it took a while. By the time I realised what was happening, there was riders coming in back past me, and I left the pits in about was in 10th, I think. Leaving the pits anyway. Carried on with the race, of fuming obviously, and got back to 4th, finished 4th in that race. So, that was that. But the next race that afternoon was the Super Twin. Leading that, the end of lap 2, got to cronked the motor and ran out of fuel. So, yeah, that was that one.
Was it the same guy? Was it the same guy who's filling up the wrong pump there by any chance? Because
No,
he's
it
got a
wasn't.
lot to answer for. There you go. He won't be able to show his face in Wigan, will he?
Yeah, that was it was one of them, but it's something you think about all the time. I thought that was my chance to win the junior, and it just wasn't to be, was it? So
No.
then that happened in the twin. The senior later that week, it was between me, Andy Saw, and Michael Mulay, or Malloy. He's Australian or New Zealand, whatever. Anyway, there was a big battle all through the race, and the race got stopped just as I took the lead at Ballaugh on the last lap of the senior. So it got took back to when everyone crossed the line. I finished third in that, so can't really complain at third, but yeah.
Oh, you can when you took the lead.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, when you're still kicking and screaming about what happened earlier in the week. Yeah.
Oh God.
So.
I'm glad I'm glad we got you on the pod now, Rob. You know what I mean? You can start setting some records.
This is just then people can learn from my experiences. You know what I mean? Get yourself a reliable fuel guy. Yeah.
So when you took the step to the TT, did you keep the same sort of squad together and just move up, or did you get a ride with another team, or what's the story about how you made the transition to the TT?
The TT, it was 2015. No, I was riding for PRF racing for the junior and senior races. So on the 600 and in the junior, 750 in the senior, and I had a top super twin for the twin race, which was Tony Morris, who'd supplied that bike, CMS, which I managed to win on the twin, second in the senior, and third in the junior. So we had a really good year that year. I thought it was not disappointing, but I thought we could have perhaps was on for all three. But
yes.
The riders you're up against and stuff like that at that time, it was really difficult. So it's one of them, isn't it? But from there,
you can hear it in your voice. You're like, yeah, it's shit luck, son. Right? You can say this on this pod. Like you can say that.
Yeah, it is.
You got abused and beaten half to death with a shit luck stick. That's what happened that year. I'm telling you.
It's just what happens, isn't it? So obviously after having we'd had good luck. We had a few podiums at the Manx over the years. So after having a first, second, and third in the week, after that, the plan was sort of always to go to the TT, which I kept the same twin and 600, and was building a super bike for the super bike race. We weren't going to have a stock or anything, so that was that with PRF, So
right,
which is what we did. Anyway, as the week went on, was getting all right on the twin. That weren't going too bad. The 600 had a good run, really good run, I thought. Finished 14th in the 600 race. We got around at 122-ish. It was sponsored by Avon Tyres, actually. So I was made up to get around pretty quick on them, which we'd not tried sort of before. I'd won on the Manx on them on the twin, but not on the bigger stuff, So
right.
that was to I don't know what the word is. It was no use anyway, because we was chucked out the results of that one, which a lot of people haven't forgot, unfortunately. But through no fault of my own, and just a bit of a whoopsie amongst the team, I suppose you could say.
That's it.
So we sort of called the week at that point. I decided to get the twin out, and slipped off at Ramsey Erpin. So. Yeah, that was
Ramsey. Yeah, Rob. The best thing is you can do all the big gnarly, hard, technical stuff. Amazing, you can, but you get to a shit corner. What happens to your brain? Watch this. I've jinxed myself now. I've jinxed myself now, Chrissy. I'll get the Ramsey hairpin again. Hopefully, Rob Hodson doesn't.
Just don't laugh. Yeah.
I ran into that wall, at Ramsey hairpin. Swear me life. You know the not this senior, the year before. You know the BMs, when you hit a neutral. You've ridden them bikes. Did you ever hit the neutrals, Chrissy?
Not that I can
Oh, you
think
can
of,
ride a
no.
bike. That's your problem. You're speaking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I wasn't hitting the lever hard enough, and I hit hit neutral, and I went into the wooden be careful of our roads, Isle of Man side.
Oh, yeah.
I stuck my front wheel through the wooden board. Right, I got off my bike. This is in the superbike race, and pulled it out the fence and got on the race. So at least he made the corner. I just run straight on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I tried to just style it up a bit or I don't know, to be honest. One of them, when you think, what a knob, as you're picking your bike up. So that was the end of that one. That was the end of the week. But we went to, I don't know if it was the day after, actually. We went down to Boulogne for the post-TT. I rode the twin, and I had to go with my dad's BM. That was the first time I've rode that, which was mint. So yeah, we had a couple of podiums there. So it was good to sort of end on a bit of a high, rather than just with everyone's heads down and stuff. So
yeah, good fun.
Yeah. So we've had a bit of success at that circuit. So it's always treated me well.
Well, without a doubt, no, because obviously on the 700 coverage, that's just been on. All you can see is you. Now let's go back to your dad for a quick second. Now, was that the bright pink BM?
That's the one. Yeah.
Can you explain the reference to the pink BM at that point?
Well, he's got the idea of it. He's got a couple of sponsors who've been involved in that. It's all in aid of cancer research.
Yes.
So the bike was bought, obviously painted that colour, and they've raised a massive amount. I can't give you the exact figure, but over the sort of, I think started doing it in about 2014-ish, something like that. But it's like tens of thousands of pounds, that's been raised just through that.
Which is fantastic.
So, yeah. So it has been worthwhile, but he's not having the big bike this year. Well, I don't think he's having much this year, but the plan was just to have the 600 and twin. That's the 1,000 been parked up just with one thing and another, just financial reasons and things like that. So
is your old man still doing the TT?
Oh yeah.
How old is he?
He's 61 this year.
Jesus.
So,
you know what I mean?
what sort of lap times does he do?
137, but they didn't record it. He actually showed Hickman the way around.
Yeah, he's got
the transponder fell off. He was waving at people.
Yeah, he's got around about 125ish, I think. Yeah.
Is the races that you and your dad are out together?
Yeah, we're all in the twin. Well, pretty much all of them, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's always I don't know if I suppose there's a competitive edge to everything, isn't there? Whether it's your dad, your relative, or whoever. But yeah, you always want to look at the results sheet and see where you are, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Especially around that dinner table. How does what does your bloody mother think? Because I know what my mother thinks, but your mother must just think, bloody hell, man.
Yeah, depending on who's coming out on top, she probably runs off with the excuse. But you know what I mean. There's always a massive one of them when you're involved, no matter who you are in racing, isn't there?
Oh, definitely.
Bit of preload here and there. That's what cocked it up. All that kind of stuff.
The extra braking butty before going out never helps. There we go. So, okay, now that we've covered the Boulogne circuit, we've covered the Northwest. I know. Yep, you said you've done the Northwest, haven't you? Have you done the Northwest?
No, was going the Northwest this year, but
right.
that would have been my first year there. We went to the Ulster.
I've been telling him for ages that you've done the Northwest. I've told him you've won a race, Rob. You know what I mean? So you're showing me up in front of my friends here.
You have friends?
I know. It's hard to believe.
Yeah. What was I going to say then? Yeah. No. This year was going to be my debut year at the Northwest. We've always planned on doing it in the past, but it's the same old story, isn't it? You're not far off the TT, and if anything goes wrong at the Northwest, engine wise or anything like that, you're knackered, aren't you? So it's never been doable.
also asked you earlier about what's your day job, and you introduced Big Sean, but then you didn't actually get round to what you do as a job.
He's a pimp.
Well, I didn't call him Big Sean. You did, but he's got a. There you go. I'm still in work. I've just been up on the roof cleaning that off at home for whatever reason. So the VRS on my T-shirt, as you can see, is Vehicle Recovery Services. Get that plug in there. And Sean owns that company, so I work for him. Yeah, doing vehicle collections and accident recovery, that sort of thing. So
I tell you what, though, if you have a look on Rob's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, he doesn't work on anyone's vehicles. He's just spraying bike bits up. Your bikes always look amazing. There we are.
Well, yeah, I do my own painting. So all paint supplied by P&M Panels Warrington. Get
Here we
that plug
go.
in as well.
We're getting the racer out of them now, Chrissy.
Yeah,
we're getting the racer out of them.
That's it. Yeah, there'll be a long list if you let me carry on. But no, yeah, that's. I was doing that as a job, as an occupation, a couple of years ago, spraying and what have you. So I just carry that skill over to my own bikes, and it saves a fortune. So,
and always look absolutely immaculate. So
Thanks
so that would have been this year for the Northwest. Obviously, that's not happened because of this Corona bollocks. And let's talk about the Ulster then. We've done TT, Balown, not the Northwest. Let's talk about the Ulster. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, you'll probably regret that, but no, the Ulster only went there once. That was 2017, and as you probably know, it didn't go too well.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a weird one.
And that was your first year as it the Hodson family?
Yeah, that was. I mean, my dad's done it in the past years ago, a good few years ago. He's competed there for a bit, but that was mine and Jamie's first year. So it was going well. I was really enjoying the circuit. Sort of clicked with it, up until what was the races called? The Dundrod 150 races they used to have, didn't they?
Yeah, on the Thursday, or they don't have them anymore.
No, they'd scrapped that for whatever reason. But the first race, but that's when we had the accident where Jamie sadly lost his life. But I think if we was going to, if there was much racing going on this year, we was going to return there. Or I was.
Which is, may I just say, which is great to hear, because obviously, we're such a close-knit community, especially the road racing side of it. And when your brother did pass away, that hit everyone. It really did hit everyone. And the fact that you and your family are still continuing, like, it shows great strength. It really does. And it shows how much it meant to you, your brother, and everyone. And it may I just say, it means a hell of a lot, mate. It really does.
Yeah. It's one of them. After it happened, obviously I was injured slightly with my ankle and things like that, but nothing wouldn't fix.
Were you involved in that crash?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not something you get asked about a lot, but it's not an issue talking about it for myself. I think people find it difficult to ask about, because they're afraid of getting the answer. But what's it called? Joey's Windmill, I think it is. There's two corners very similar, isn't there? The first one you go through quick, the second one's back here, I think, and in. But yeah, I went in, and as you come out of there, there's like a farmer's entrance.
There is, right by the hedge. Yeah.
It's at that hedge. There's like a mound of I don't know what it is. It's like it's the end of the field, really. Anyway, as I came around, I just ran up wide slightly. Front wheel just touched that, and at that speed, there's nothing you can do, is there?
Not at all. Not at all.
The bike came around and had me off, which was scary enough because it was having a really good race. There must have been, I don't know, about 6 of us all involved in the battle, in that. So that was the start of it. There was just the 2 of us that went down. Everyone else sort of dodged me and the bike and things like that. But Jamie never, and he struck the side, and that was that. So it was a weird one because you go from you're in the heat of a race and you're doing whatever speeds, and then the next thing you're on the floor and you can see what's going on. It's like 2 different worlds, in a very short space. So that was the end of that one. Unfortunately, I don't think I'd have carried on with the meeting anyway if I could. But
Yes.
I think this was the right year to go back and have another
Mate.
go. But with having sort of got the ride with RC Express, as you said before, and everything's there for me. Just to go and concentrate on my riding and try and have a good do.
No, totally good. And the thing is, like joining the RC Express team, like you say, being running your own bikes, and they're a well set up team in themselves. So the fact that you could turn up to any event across the whole year and just actually think about just your riding, and basically, if anyone gives you a lip, your dad could fill them in. So it's ideal. You know what I
mean? How did the RC Express thing come about?
Well, we'd.
His dad, I'm telling you, just walked in. Well, Tycho, Hector Neal shit himself and ran away. So Hector Neal wasn't available. Yes. Sorry, that was a serious question. Sorry, Chrissy. There you are. So how?
Just bear with me. Right, that's it. Before we go flat here. It was just a sort of. I mean, the team had decided what they was doing, or not decided. They weren't. Obviously, they ran Paul Jordan last year, and yourself at Macau. And then we were sort of sorted with what we were planning to do. We was going to keep the same BMW I've had for the last few years. But then we got the call off Ben, saying that I think Paul had turned another ride or whatever it was. And would I be interested? So obviously we thought we were sorted. Was going to have, like I said, my own BM. Was going to have a new R6 and the twin we weren't sure of. But a further chat with Ben and the team, and that was. I mean, we spoke with all our current sponsors and things like that, just to make sure everything was right. And because, I mean, it's one of them. I like doing my own thing, as you probably do as well. You not so much fully in control, but you can decide where you're racing, what you're doing, all this. But when it's in someone else's hands, it's quite a bit different. So
it is, yeah. Are you looking forward to that side of it? Because obviously with the teams you've rode for in the past have been kind of the one-off events. Is that not fair to say? Now, RC Express have given you a fantastic opportunity to potentially come back into the British paddock and come back into which would be absolutely brilliant. Now, coming from your 125 genre, shall we say? I think I personally would like to see you sit up Chrissy Rouse. Now, hello, Chrissy.
Well,
I forget he's really. I know. Yeah, people on here can't see this, but Chrissy's burst out into a ball of sweat here through sheer nerves. The Hodgson's out to get him. There we go.
Yeah. Well, I know we've just been having a haircut off. I'm not sure who's won that one, to be honest. But,
the king of the Corona cuts here. The king of the Corona cuts. But no, the great thing is that the team you're on with are ticking all the boxes for the events. Because Barrett, you are a seriously hold on, you're a seriously fast lad at all the events, especially Macau, Ballown. These are the specialist circuits. Now, bear in mind you haven't done the Northwest, and what's your current speed at the TT now? So you went from what was you last year? Now, bearing in mind the senior, you had a bit of an unfortunate accident in the Super Twin race prior.
Oh God, yeah.
You just keep getting abused by the shit look stick. It's not your riding son, it's the shit look stick. And but you still.
It weren't great, that one, but yeah. In fact, last year weren't. It was difficult with weather and things. It always is, isn't it? When you don't get the practice, as you know. But I took the twin that I've had ran for a good few years of CMS. And the Triumph, we had that, and then our own BM, we got a Superbike engine and a few other bits for it. But by that, we couldn't run a stocker, so we borrowed a stocker. But then you end up, we found out it was just too much. Having 4 bikes and limited practice and things like that, it didn't really work. So I didn't go for. I don't think I went as fast last year as I did the year before. So.
That's because to be blunt, you missed the best race off that week, if you know what I mean. The senior, you
Yeah,
had the
yeah.
6 laps, it was dry enough, and unfortunately you were injured. So bearing in mind, it was outstanding that you even got to the grid, because like where you came off and got abused by the bad luck fairies again was seriously fast. So it was Ren Cullen. Was it Ren Cullen?
Yeah, just as you exit Kurt Michael, going up towards
So 6
Ren
gear.
Cullen.
Let's go back
Oh,
to this
yeah,
4-player tactic. Let's build a story here, Rob. 6 gear,
Build the story,
flat
right?
stick.
I'm coming through. I was on lap record pace. I came through.
I've just passed Hickman. I've just
yeah,
passed.
came through Kurt Michael, and then there's the yellow lines in the, the
Yes.
yellow line, all that, and then the chain either came off or snapped or whatever, and wrapped around the sprocket carrier and locked the back wheel. So I kept it as straight as I could, but I don't know how fast you're going on one of them. It's probably 130, 40 mile an hour, something like that.
Plus the VAT. Aye, there
Yeah.
you are.
So when it decided it was coming round a bit more, there was nothing you could do. It just sort of flicked me off, and I was lucky just to go down the centre of the road and into the curb. It could have been, if it had happened going into Ren Cullen, it might have been a different story, but I was lucky with that one. I've used one of my 9 lives there. So
Yeah, needless to say, aye. So the fact that you went off down the road as a seeded number in that race at number 19. So the fact that did you complete that race?
No, I did.
I don't bloody blame you. Bear in mind, 150 mile an hour skip on your face. Well done for you.
Were you going down 18?
I went off actually behind him.
Oh.
I went off down the road behind Rob, and I remember watching Rob go off, going, them rugby players on motorcycles, they're built for this sport. Like, well, Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
yeah, strong built you Hodgson.
I pulled to one side and let Dom past. I thought, I don't want him cocking me up and all that. So no, but we did a couple of laps in the senior and called it on that one. When you think about pulling in, it's game over, isn't it? The second you think, I think right. So
there's always the following, isn't there? Always the following.
Yeah,
well, then coronavirus, which is just that's it.
Yeah, maybe there's not the following, but
it's 2021.
That's it. Yeah, after that we went to the classic, which is a great meeting, I think. It's the classic TT. Had a good do there. That was my first time riding a 350 and a 500. So.
Were you there on the green or you were there on the green or 750? Weren't you?
Yeah, we had an issue with our own 750, and they had a spur bike. So
Angus Greenall to the rescue. There we are. Good man.
Yeah, shout out to Angus. He pulled us out of it massively there, and it was you've seen the bikes yourself. They're as good as you can get, really, aren't they?
So for people that don't know, Dean Harrison's now racing for this team in potentially 2021. He was supposed to be going to the Classic TT this year. So, like we say, it does show the pedigree of what Angus's bikes are. It's they are seriously brilliant machines.
That's it. There's stuff on the bikes that I don't even know where you would find it. I'm not sure. It's like factory Kawasaki stuff. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, the other classic, I think it was 7th in the Superbike race and 9th on the 350. So, I'm looking forward to having another go on them. To be honest, they've got the same bike, similar bikes again. 350. Yeah. You know how they get with the old classics. They're always improving and spending a fortune on them. So I'm looking forward to that with getting back with Ruthless Racing. That's what
Is that actually the title you take the piss? Is that the team called Ruthless Racing?
No, I'm not. I'm not just being what's the word? Bigging myself up, calling myself Ruthless. That's the name of the team.
That's an awesome team name. I didn't even know they were called that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. It's Ruthless Racing. It's an anagram of Lindsay Hurst, who owns the bikes. His uncle is Les Hurst, and Ruthless is an anagram of Les Hurst. So there you go.
There we are. You see, we have all the meanings there. We have all the meanings.
That's it. Well, I'm not just making stuff up here. You know what I mean? I'm hitting you with facts.
So I tell you what. Before we wrap up this interview, do you want to quickly bang through? I kind of went through it beforehand, but let's quickly bang through your list with your future plans with the RC Express team.
Yeah, RC Express. It was going to be the full season this year. Northwest, TT, Southern, Ulster, Macau, all them kind of races, and BSB whenever it fit in. But obviously this year's knackered, really. We might get a couple of rounds of, whatever happens with the British. If we can get in there, we'll do that, and Macau as well. And then hopefully the same plans for 2021. We'll have to have a chat, see where we go, but fingers crossed, we'll tick all the boxes and be given the chance again.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Mega. Spot, we'll finish with a few quick fire questions. So
go for it.
Prepare yourself.
Pretty straightforward. So if you could listen to a song just before you set off down Bray Hill, so you've got to pick one song, what would it be?
Oh God, that would have to be. I'm a bit of a Chili Peppers fan,
Nice.
Right.
Yeah. Something about the Chili Peppers, I'd say.
Oh, there we go then. Right. Now, we all know now, obviously, having this visual call, that you're covered in tattoos. Which is your favourite tattoo and why?
Favourite tattoo? Wait, well, I suppose for your listeners, it's no good saying, look at this one, is it? Hang on, let me just...
We need a visual description for the audio listeners.
A visual description, right. I like this one.
Shit.
No, actually.
No, I'm joking.
It's spelled wrong.
Can
you see? Right. What's the lighting like there? I'm getting all technical here. Can you see anything?
What is the tattoo of?
Right. So we've got two hands being shaken there. I don't think you can really see it on the picture, can you? Two hands being shaken. It says "Brothers Never Let Go." So that one's pretty cool. That was the first one I ever had.
Right.
And the second one, the second favourite one is that's a Union Jack and a checkered flag combined with the number 20 in the corner. So the number 20 is not for you, by the way, Dom.
Oh, you sweetheart, you sweetheart then. But you bellend. What's the number 20 in reference to then?
That's Jamie's racing number. It was for a good few years. So yeah, I've got a sleeve in progress, which is in dedication to him. So there's a few cool bits on that. But I would say the first one I ever got.
So what's with the giraffe on your neck punching Winston Churchill? What's all that tattoo about? Oh, go on, next question.
If you could choose someone to start behind at the TT, who would you pick? So if you could pick any race
to get a toe off.
To get a toe off, I'd go for... I think I'd... See, you can't say Hickman, can you? Because if he starts in front of you, you're never going to see him.
I totally agree. I'm with you on that one. You can't. It's totally different. So who would you go for? Out your list.
I'm going to say
it's difficult not to offend someone here.
I know.
You're basically saying that they're slow. No, I'm just joking.
I'm going to say Dominic Herbertson.
Shut
Right.
No,
don't just sit there and laugh your bollocks off. Let me explain this. Right. Because
I'm a good slipstream. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think a few reasons. I think there's more chance of you cocking your startup, right? So, and I think I'd maybe have a good. I'd like to have a good chance at catching you up, a realistic chance.
Oh God, the game's on. The game. I'm fighting talk. Right. Well, that was a great interview. Now piss off. There. Why did he invite him on the podcast? I'm gonna have nightmares now. There you go. Right. Hold on. Actually, that brings us on to the next question. Really, bring us your biggest rival throughout the years of your racing, and it can't be Josh Daly or someone like that.
Can't answer you. I had some good racing with Josh, actually, back in the day. We had on the 400s and 600s at club level and stuff. We had some really good races. But road racing, I've recently, I'm not sure about over the years, recently I'd say we've got a bit of a ding-dong in us with Ryan Neen. He's a good rider.
Oh, without a doubt, especially around the block. No, I tell you what, he just keeps getting the bad luck side of things with mechanicals as well. Yeah. He's on the same like mechanical bad luck list. It's not your fault and not the way you prep the bikes in one bit at all. It's just sometimes you just get shit luck, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, so
to grab him on.
I would say Ryan Neen, yeah. But I hope he doesn't listen to this, because I don't want him to hear me say that I think he's a good rider.
Right, God, this is your shit, mate. There.
So, organising a night out, got to take 3 three lads from the bike racing paddock. Which three would you pick and why?
Gary Johnson likes a drink. Good laugh.
That was a dirty laugh, wasn't it? There.
Yeah.
Gary Johnson. 3 Gary Johnsons. I think we've got as far as this. There.
Yeah. Gary Johnson. I suppose you could come along, Dom. You'd be all right, wouldn't you?
Hold on. He's insulting me back. I'm going to catch you, pass you, and I'll buy you a pint for it. You know what I mean? Cheers.
Who else?
Thank you.
Who else? I tell you who does like a drink, who likes getting on it. Yeah. See, there's a good few now. Now I'm thinking about it. Really, when you think, road racers, they love a drink, don't they? They love a beer.
Oh, don't drag us all down to your level. Yeah, go on now, joking with you. No, everyone's having a good time. So
I'm going to say Crowe, because he likes
you were going to say that. I was literally just about to suggest that, because I was just about to say, you two will look like two big bouncers going in together.
Hang on, it's just this camera. I'm not as big as Crowe. Hang on a minute. Come on.
He's a top lad, Crowe. Yeah, I've got loads of time for him. Spot on.
Yeah.
Right. Who's your favourite, Guy Martin or Michael Dunlop?
If this is quick fire, it's not working very well, is it?
It is. Don't explain it. Just answer.
Michael Dunlop.
Right, good.
Hutchie or Hillier?
Hutchie.
Oh, Dean Harrison or Hickman?
Dean.
Oh, there we go.
McGuinness or Bruce Anstey?
McGuinness.
I think that's all we've got written down. So unless Dom's gonna,
I've got nothing. I'm just.
Are you going to come with if you're asking for and why? That'll be difficult, but
no. We're not. We're going to get you in more trouble.
no, there's not. But yeah, no, I'll not elaborate on that because fear of offending loads of racers. But yeah, that's that.
That is brilliant. But honestly, Rob, thank you so much for coming on the pod. It is great to have you on. Yeah, as always, and you never disappoint. You're always good crack. And good luck whenever this gets going. And I really hope I don't see you on the track ever. Ever. So there you go.
No, thanks for having me, boys. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Take care.
Take care.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
So spot on. Have you got much on this week?
Indigestion, Desmond.
I have actually.
What's the matter with you?
It was that. What did my mum make tonight? Chicken. Was it chicken pie?
Whatever it was amazing.
Nice.
Your mum has a lovely pie, mate. You know, really top notch, mate. Absolutely top notch. But I tell you what, your mum is seriously a hell of a hand in the kitchen. It's unreal, absolutely unreal.
We'll get well looked after on podcast night.
We do indeed.
Speaking of which, this week we'll be going down to collect our new studio.
Yes,
and,
thoroughly looking forward to it.
It's been long, a long time in the making.
Definitely.
But really looking forward to picking that up, and hopefully we'll get some live not live, like in person podcasts done sometime soon.
We've said it a fair few times, and it's a much clearer interview. It is, and I think you just get a lot more crack, and it's thoroughly looking forward to it, Chrissy, man. But I tell you what, we didn't mention in the beginning of it all, we actually have Bar Macau Grand Prix. We have the Cookstown. They're still really determined to run in the September time there. And I wrote notes, Chrissy. I'm trying to be professional these days. And I haven't wrote the bloody date in September. But around about September time. Sometime in September, the Cookstown 100 Northern Ireland's hopefully going to get go. But it's a very interesting concept they're running. Now, I think it's really going to be the only road race, including BSB, road racing in general, as whole in a discipline, that they're going to do a closed event. You know, they're not going to have the numbers. They're going to have restricted spectators numbers. Now, that's something extremely hard to police at a public road race.
Impossible,
it really is, quite frankly, impossible. But what is brilliant, though, now, these sports rely on people buying programs, and we're all tight as a nun's nick a leg these days when it comes to handing out money, especially the little things. The little things towards events, on that side, like buying programs. Now, with a BSB event, people do buy programs, but road circuits, it is very much crucial because there's no gate fee. No gate fee. No, they can't actually bring any revenue bar little buying programs.
The Ulster Grand Prix, was that?
see
I
that
did pay for that though.
now
didn't
you pay to go into the paddock side of things. So
I thought you had to pay to watch.
oh no, because you can access it from anywhere. So because the paddock in itself at the Ulster is like it's inside the circuit, but there are like certain grandstands that you have to pay to be a part. But no, like any Tom, Dick, and Harry can go walk through a field and go spectate. But like the Northwest, similar thing. You have to pay to go into the paddock to walk around, and certain grandstands you have to pay. But in essence, road racing is a very pure form of motorsport on the side of, if you want to go watch. But events like Armoy, Cookstown, Tanragee, the Mid-Antrim when that was running, all these, as Captain Kawasaki would say, footpath racing, which I was pissing myself at, but it kind of is. But you can just go spectate. But any little, without sounding like Asda, with any little helps, really. It really does.
I was thinking as well for the likes of BSB and stuff, if they didn't want to introduce the crowds, do you know the likes of boxing where you do pay-per-view?
Yeah. They did that with UFC recently.
Yeah, they did, no crowds, and obviously I think Eddie Hearn's having a massive boxing evening in his back garden, and that's going to be same thing. So they're going to put the ring up, no crowd, and it'll just be same as usual, like pay-per-view. But if they did that with BSB, I know, like most people, I'm sure that would be listening to this podcast. If you could sit down and watch full day BSB and you had to pay like just a set fee, I'm pretty sure most people would do it. So that might be a loophole to get around. I'm not sure.
That would be interesting. How would you feel as a rider though, at Alton Park with no one there? No, you know what I mean. When you're racing,
interesting concept. And I see a journalist called Matthew Said did a thing in the Times this week about it, because the German football leagues just reintroduced the football, and Dortmund had a match with no crowd, and basically they were just in essence they were just saying the not having the crowd there and having the atmosphere massively affected the game. It just wasn't the same. Now, would bike racing be so much different? If I'm totally honest, it's fantastic, when there's a buzzing crowd there, and if you do a good. But at the end of the day, if there's nobody there, as soon as those lights go out, I'm just concentrating on apex to apex to apex, and if there's, 2 people there, 2,000 or 20,000 or 50,000, to me, would it really make a difference? Probably not. But
no. Okay, right. Let's dive in this to a little bit more. Fair enough, on track. Totally understand your mindset. Totally understand. But little things like the whole sport and like imagine you just come back to your garage, parking your bike up. No one there. No one in the paddock. You
nobody
walk back
there
to your caravan.
for like autographs. And
no,
that's just standard.
Oh yeah, shut up, man. You bell. No, I just mean the crack in general. You know what I mean?
Maybe for the famous riders that get stopped in that, but nobody stops me anyway. Just be exactly the
I mean
same.
going over and having the crack with someone and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Crack.
Just imagine just walking out like imagine booking a track and just having no one there but you. No one.
It would be different, but at the end of the day, I think everyone's so desperate just to race. Whatever we'll get, we'll take, and it is whatever happens. It's gonna be really weird this year, but I'm so excited to get back out on the bike. Even just watching little videos, watching little on boards that as there's nothing like it. Just getting the bike wound up. After a full winter, the very first time you roll out a pit lane and you just wind the throttle up and you there is nothing like it. It's
totally agree.
Try to explain that to someone that doesn't do it is impossible, but but I tell you what, one thing that's going to be it's going to be a bit hairy, I think, is the first few track days where lots of club racers are going to be desperate to get up to speed after having months off the bike. And
by the way, if you are doing a track day and you're listening to this pod, the fact is they've opened the gate. Doesn't mean they're going to there's plenty more track days out there, so don't try and do it all in the first 5 minutes, for the love of God. Because like you say, Chrissy, you're getting a bunch of gorillas, poking them with a stick for several months, and then just going to let them loose. What's going to happen? Someone's going to die, aren't they?
Speaking of the Cookstown, are you booked into doing that, or would that be on your calendar?
No. I would love to do it. Absolutely love to do it. But I think they've crossed the dates with Oliver's Mount.
Right. And are you booked to do that as well?
At the moment, nothing's released, but it's no, as far as the Counting Racing team, they would be going, and now as far as the Davies Motorsport team, they'll be going to Oliver's Mount, and I would
Davies are.
Yeah, definitely, and I just think, why, I do not know the politics of it, but I'm just speaking as a road race fan. What the is going on? What? But if they had two separate meetings, two separate dates, what's going to happen? More people are going to go to both of the events.
Mm-hmm.
That is the plain and simple of it. So let's use Jamie Coward, for example. Jamie Coward would go to Oliver's Mount, and he would definitely go to Cookstown. But if you had to pick, you'd probably go to Oliver's Mount. And you're splitting the numbers, and for a sport that's quite frankly fragile, as far as getting the interest, getting the money in, you think, for God's sake, club together. Stop trying to, knack the situation. But like I say, that's easy for me to say sitting here without knowing the full details. But you just wish, for God's sake, stop double booking, man. You know what I mean? But that's my only personal gripe. But obviously, there's much more going on without me knowing mind. There you go.
I bet. And before we shoot, are you back to graft at the moment, or you got much on over the next week?
To be honest, I've totally dried up this week gone, which is absolutely gutting. But lucky for me, hopefully, like next week, the estates are opening up, which is awesome. And then the following week, the railway side of it is going back to normal shifts instead of just emergency-based work. So hopefully, I'm going to be going mental again. That's what I'm really hoping for. Because I just want to make some cheddar. Make some cheddar.
Chopper.
But no, I'm going out Teesside next Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
on the little Simoto pit bike.
Oh, mint. Is that what, like a test day or something?
No, so Teesside on the website, they've opened up their track days, but obviously under restricted situation that we've been discussing about normal track days. So you can't take anyone. I think you can take one other person and then just go around.
Have you got anybody else going?
Nah, fancy coming?
We are.
Yeah, wait. No, I'm not taking you. You're faster than me. You never take someone faster. No, I won't get yourself down.
We'll come down Tuesday. We'll take the studio down. You never know who might be there.
Bunch of people calling us bellends, going, what the hell are these lads doing? They are. Oh, hey, I tell you what, not a bad idea. So, hey, if you fancy having a look from a safe distance, get yourself down to Teesside next Tuesday.
There we are. Spot on.
The surprise get released on Tuesday, so you've probably missed us by then, but bar that. But no, hey, good, Craig. Thank you so much to Rob, and thank you very much to our sponsor.
That's it. Big, massive thank you to Martin Cheney. Like I say, one of our patrons, and it's Cheney Payroll. So if you need on Twitter at Cheney Payroll, and website is cheneypayrollservices.co.uk. Massive thank you, and that extended thank you to all of our patrons who are supporting us at the moment. And I'm definitely going to book in a quiz for next week. So if you I've started writing it already, and I think it's going to be a BSB and road racing quiz. So if you head over to our Patreon site, we'll get a live stream sorted through YouTube or whatever, and we'll get that sorted for next week. But
awesome,
excellent. We'll catch up soon and have a good week. And obviously I'll be down on Tuesday. You and you on.
See you in a bit, son.
Take care, mate. Goodbye.